what's going on with the letters in our schools and with Aspire, and let you get to see what's going on in our classrooms. So how does the ad fund work into this? We'll walk you through that as we go along too. But we are here to just show you our partnership with the Edina Public Schools, how we have worked with the Edina Public Schools to bring together our work and our funding to help make this a reality in our schools so that we can bring our students the best possible education that they deserve and our teachers the professional development that they need in order to teach our students. So tonight, first, we're going to bring up Heather. And just give us a little bit of overview of that, and then we'll bring up some of our educators.
Well, good evening. I was totally prepared for exactly what you just said. Okay, so the READ Act was a really big deal and collaboration. I want to give a shout out to Stacey Stanley, who is really led the way in the state of Minnesota. And I remember Stacey and I had a meeting in my office, and I was like, Stacey, how about we do this and this and this? Yes. So and this is really what we have. But you have led the way. Like you are such a gem for our district. I hope you always get the love and appreciation that you absolutely deserve. I know that. So Edina really has led the way for state policy. We came early to understanding that balanced literacy and whole language was a problem, and really being able to look at structured literacy and trying to make sure that we gave the teachers and students the tools they needed to succeed. So the READ Act has many different components, but it's a $92 million investment. And we are this session, maybe you've heard of session starting February 12th. I don't know if any of you are this policy wonky or good I am, but I'm really excited about hopefully getting 30 million more. It's going to be my ask for the READ Act this year. And so it makes sure that we also, and I think in the future, we're going to want to look at increasing local literacy incentive aid for districts, which I think Superintendent you would probably agree would be really helpful for districts. But the READ Act really did a comprehensive look at how we set out curriculum and improve curriculum in districts in a universal way for our state. And just think, districts would have to pay for this service. The state is paying for it. We're vetting it, we're doing good work. We do this partnership with the University of Minnesota. We are also paying for all of the training. Now, for districts like ours, we have already started some of the training, so there will be a loss. We've talked about reimbursement, we'll see, but honestly, we're never going to make it completely whole for districts. So as we take on literacy as one of your big issues here at Edfund, I am so appreciative and really in many ways that I can partner. And if you'd like to spend the day at Capital with me in my last session, genuinely, it's an open invitation. I would love to see you there. But thank you, Kathy, for having me.
So without further ado, we're going to walk through some of the work that's being done in the district. I'm just going to take the first lead. Do you want to come back with it?
I'll call them up maybe one by one.
Okay, perfect.
Awesome.
Thank you. Well, thank you everyone for being here. So exciting to talk about our literacy programming and jumping more of what's happening in Edina Public Schools. This is my third year in Edina, and I have the pleasure of overseeing and working alongside everyone who's working on literacy initiatives. And it truly is, you'll see the snapshot of how this looks pre-K, elementary, and secondary. That's kind of our goal today. And so we're going to just touch on a few things and then have some of our other staff members come up and share about programming in specific areas. So, as I said, Bethany Van Anto, Assistant Director of Teaching and Learning, and I just wanted to pause here for a minute and know that I've highlighted my email address. We may not have time for questions because we've got a lot of things to share and celebrate with you. If we don't, that's there for a reason. Please use it and take a picture of it. Email me if you have any questions that I might not get to tonight. So with that, we always start with our mission and vision, and I think this is a beautiful way to start off as we share this story with you and how the READ Act and how literacy and structured literacy is important in the district because we are committed every time we get together as a staff, we talk about this vision together. We read it, we have it memorized, regardless if it's at the cabinet level with Dr. Stanley, or if it's with our teachers, and even some students at Armadale, but this is fresh, occurred. Chris can attest to that. So we say that there's going to be technical schools for each and every student to reach their full potential and to thrive. And you'll see evidence of that throughout as we go through this. So this makes of reading, you might be familiar with that very buzzword now in education. And as a mom of two kids, I have a first grader and fifth grader, and we're living and breathing this now in our home. And we recognize now that it's way more complicated. I started teaching about 20 years ago, and we have to be way more intentional. So this is just a graphic that shows the complexity of what it takes to teach and how to read, and all of the components that are necessary, and we weave them together. So I just put this in front of you. I'm not going to leave it. What just because you hear different pieces that are happening in the learning center or in our kindergarten classrooms or even our secondary classrooms, everything comes back to this reading room that's super intentional around why we're doing what we're doing, why we're assessing the way we're assessing, why we're reading, why we're supporting, why we're enriching the way that we're doing that across. So this is again just kind of high level, real visual of the complexities, the science of reading is process, right? So Heather spoke a little bit about the read act, and I'm just going to talk really quickly. She explained the overview of how the state is supporting us. I want to speak to what this looks and sounds like for Edina Public Schools, because I will tell you, part of my job is networking with other districts across the state. We have a monthly meeting called Macro or Metro Area Critical Needs Get Together, and we share the talk, we network, and we problem solve together. And when React came out, I was thrilled because in doing this work at Edina, in my mind, I was thinking, this is so good. This is so encouraging. This is the work we're doing. This is the work I'm helping us to do. And so really quickly, I'm going to touch on that and share with you how it's supposed to be done. Right? So we have to, as said, we have to be screening our students 3 times a year with a screener that's been approved by the state of Minnesota. So Passbridge is the screener. If you have kids in the district or you work in the district, you know the screener very well. So districts now are trying to figure out how to implement Passbridge, right? Passbridge has been living and breathing in Edina for many years at the K-1 level. And actually now have a K-10 embedded and baked into the system. We're using it 3 times a year at a really high level. And so this is something that when I hear other districts talk, I just feel that sense of pride and accomplishment in what we're doing, and our teachers and our leaders and our students are doing in terms of we're already by a couple of years, right? Another place where in Edina way, right, we're ahead of the game here, is in letters. You might have heard that professional learning, professional development around teaching the science of reading and the instructional shifts that are necessary. One of this professional development platforms called Letters. And this is one option for districts to train their teachers in science of reading. It's very, very rigorous. This is where we really work with them to support this. Edina Public Schools currently has over 300 teachers who are already enrolled. We have a cohort that has finished all 8 units, which is 144 hours. We've cohorted about 25 teachers, and roughly 20-ish. And now we have K-3 already enrolled, and we're seeing an impact on students already, which is really exciting. I share this with you in my metro area curriculum meetings where I was hearing other districts scrambling, trying to figure out how to make this happen. We're already 3 years in Edina. We are literally defining excellence along the way. We're ahead of the curve, and again, we'll get the impact on the students in a little bit. It's pretty exciting. The last piece is to on the piece of our resources. We're still making our way down this path, but I want you to know what the confidence is that we've spent a lot of time aligning our resources to the science of reading. And while the resources are perfect, we always have to put us on purpose. We know that our resources are supporting all the teachers learning about the science of reading. And again, this has been something that's been implemented in terms of the foundational skills since 2016. We're always getting better, right? We're always improving, but this is something to be really proud of. So these are the 3 main areas of research our breast. How do we do what we do? And anytime I'm going to say, watch this, we're already doing it. That's what we for kids and empower our teachers. So with that, I talk about the training, right? And think about across the board. This is my first school district that I work in, and I couldn't be more impressed with how the folks behind it, the teachers embrace this learning. How studying is led this learning, how the principals are leading this learning. It's really outstanding how our staff are driving this new learning and actually impacting this. Students, you'll see evidence of that along the way. Also, families and community, by giving part of your role, I get to partner with our Dyslexia Alliance, I get to meet with some of our moms in the district and talk about how are we working together to make sure that we're communicating well, that our families are understanding and supported. So that partnership has just been really great. At each of our elementary schools, we're also having a science and reading night. Chris Golden Morganville started this a couple of months ago, and each of our buildings is hosting one of these. So look for those nights at your student group or children's teachers. So that's been outstanding. And finally, I probably couldn't do the work that I had left. We're just thrilled to have support. We're going to hear more about it later in the night here. But the ability that that has given us to do work in the right way for teachers. I taught for 15 years. I taught first grade, fourth grade, fifth grade. And when I think about the amount of professional development that we're getting our teachers and what we're expecting them to do in the classroom without this partnership with that fund, we would not be able to do that with such dignity and excellence that we're able to do that every day. So it's just outstanding. So with that, I'm going to pass it on to the other. And she is going to come up and talk about hustles in our community. So we don't come on up.
Well, hi, good evening, everybody. I'm excited to be here. Always joyful to talk about our excellence in early childhood. If I haven't yet, I have to say a word that I am honored and privileged to be part of the Learning Center across the parking lot. We currently serve about 550 students, and I work with a staff of 80 amazing dedicated people. So today, I'm just going to share a little bit about some of the work that we've been doing in early learning around literacy development. And my PTO president has to give me a timer, so I will quit talking. So somebody just explain me when I'm. So the first thing that I just want to start a little bit with is sharing just a little history around early childhood and you're familiar with it. When you think about early childhood and the development of early childhood teachers, there is a very, very strong focus on child development. The cognitive development, that's really, really important. There is very less focus on emergent learning skills, literacy, and numeracy. And so when we think about our candidates that are coming out to our teaching program, we really know right away that we need to invest in training our teachers so that they have a skill set to do that. And the other thing that historically in early childhood is that curriculum is very age-based. That is kind of always been the way early childhood has worked. If you remember your days in school, you write it in September, so apple. And that's great. Apples are like cute, but they're not data-driven. We don't have any baseline on what kids already know they can do. And so we don't have any direction on where we want to help kids learn and grow. And so, and also, it's a very staff-centered planning that we want our teaching to always be student-centered, right, when we're thinking about that. So, I was fortunate enough to come on board in 2016 and worked for a couple of years to really get a strong focused curriculum in the early learning center. It's creative curriculum. It's very, very popular in school-based early learning programs. And part of the reason it's popular is that it's directly aligned with our state standards, the ESETs for the childhood indicators. It also has a standardized assessment, which is called Teaching Strategy Goal. And again, that standardized assessment is well aligned with what we want kids to know and be able to do as they enter kindergarten. And one of the very first things I started saying around school when I was fortunate enough to join was, we're not getting kids ready for June 1st, we're getting them ready for September 1st. So we're going to make sure that their transition into the next step of their educational journey is they're ready. And then the other thing that we've been fortunate to do is add some training for our teachers, letters, which I'll speak a little bit more. Integrity and community awareness training, and lessons for our kiddos. And then, interventions if needed. If you have kiddos in the elementary setting, you know what reading for and math for is. We just got that version in the early learning center. It's just called early learning forum. So, we have a gal who comes over every day and provides some literacy interventions for kiddos. In 2022-23 school year, we began to keep data, and I had noticed for a couple of years, you know, this is a pretty diverse population of kiddos that are coming to the early learning center. Lots of different languages, lots of different experiences, really well vast breadth of people. And so in 22-23, we started to collect some data on 4 of the families that are coming to our school, and discovered that we have a pretty strong 12 bilingual group, and even of those multilingual families, a number of kiddos that are English language learners. And full caveat, when you think about young kids, 2, 3, 4, 5, they're all learning English. Everybody is learning our language and structures that we have. But we notice that we have some population of kiddos that are learning English learners as well. And so we started a couple of different programs to help target those families. The first thing, I'll talk about them in the next slide. To that. And so all of these things, you know, I'm really, really proud to share with you, as Bethany talked about excellence and talking to her coworkers about what we're doing in Edina. I also have a monthly meeting with the other versions of the data about the metro. And I will say, I think that's it. Every single meeting, tell me about letters. How are you guys doing letters? What does it look like for you as an administrator? Where do you see evidence of it in your classroom? How is reading for young learners? Do your teachers like the handwritten lessons? And that feels really good to be able to say to other people in the metro, we're doing it in Edina. Come check out what we're doing. Come see what we're doing. Let me set you up with a teacher so that you can ask that teacher specific questions about how they implement that half-day class or an all-day class. So that's really sort of wasn't really my goal necessarily, but it's been a really nice side project that we're becoming, you know, only early childhood for having a pretty robust literacy program for our kiddos. Okay, so letters, and I know that. So letters is for early childhood for professional learning experience for pre-K and kindergarten teachers that provides deep knowledge of early literacy instructions. Teachers need unique skills to help young learners build the literacy foundation before they even learn to read or write. You know, we take that for granted because we all know how to read or write. But at some point in our lives, somebody taught us that, right? Those foundational skills. And the professional learning experience helps the teachers understand and develop more language, print knowledge, learning, writing skills. And this is the most important part, and I see this in the hallways when I'm walking, in the classrooms, in the environmental print, when I'm observing lessons, the why behind how kids learn. The science behind literacy is so important for teachers to have that. And I have an amazing literacy program in business deck, and we often do pocket talks through the school. And there are so many times where schools say, look at that head of the wall. Last year they didn't have that print on, they just had the pictures. Oh my gosh, can you see, do you notice that? Or, you know, as we observed the history lesson the other day, to look what they're doing. Like the cohort that the teachers participated, they participated in an online session, and then they also come together as a group and they facilitate the conversation. The conversations that they are having about the why behind how kids learn are so impactful, and you see evidence of that in their classrooms. And you know, it empowers teachers to feel really confident in what they're doing, that they are delivering research-based best practice for emergent literacy. Okay, this is such a great picture, and I tried to grab it, although I just wish that cat looks like the 1890s, but took out 3 of them. So this talks about the 10 components in the Henry pre-kindergarten lesson. There's 8 50 awareness skill, 1 letter name, letter sound recognition activity, and then 1 language activity using nursery rhymes. Do you remember your nursery rhymes? Don't ever forget them, they're so important. And then the daily lessons provide the practice and exposure for these 8 50 awareness skills. Now, in the early learning center, we only have 3 goals. Be safe and solve problems. And this is an example of some kiddos practicing their writing. This is all child written and put it up in this particular classroom where our books are. And this is evidence that the kiddos understand that the text has meaning and that it lives in their lives. This is directly connected to their lives. And that's when you know that's why it's so important. Oh my gosh, this is my favorite comment toward this child. She sings every day. It's so sweet. So this is talking a little bit more on multi-level learners. So students that when they register the early learning center, we have a questionnaire, and one of the questionnaires is tell us about your home languages, what do you speak, and then once we gather that data, the early learning center teachers go out and do home visits to families in their pocket. Before they do that visit, they will call each family and get them a little free interview. And for our multilingual families, they're really kind of gathering data to find out what level of language learning is your child and your family at. And then in the following, kiddos come together the class screener, which is the screener that we use for kiddos that are learning the English language, and then they basically they're scored within a number, and then that helps us know what level of services they might need, and then the other thing that was really fun last year is we invited into the early learning center native speaking volunteers. So we took all our kiddos, and I think this year it's 36 languages that we speak at the early learning center. And kiddos that are in a preschool class, if this child speaks Japanese as their native language and they're just learning English, 1 day a week they have a Japanese volunteer that comes to school with them. And that person is there to just help give them a language and the structure of the routine of the day. And it is getting NASA again, really fun. And then ongoing professional development with our teaching staff, trying to give them all the resources we can, operate them on assessments. Same thing with the letters to cohorts, just having case study conversations about how can we help support them. Okay, and so then this is my last slide, and I'm just, how Bethany says, put some pictures in, and you have, 25, and then you're down. So the first top left corner, that is the 4-year-old's classroom, and they're doing a lesson on meals. And so that you can see they have the pictures of all the different kinds of meals, and then they made a chart together. What do we know? And so lots of different notes and conversations. This is really a sharing of the pen and interactive writing where the kids are giving the language to the teacher and she models the writing on chart paper. Directly below that is the ease into the day activity where the teacher out of the pencil she draws hearts, and the directive to the children is find a heart, write a letter. So this is where we gauge different levels of knowledge, because really the directive is only write a letter. My letter would be L's, but if I'm no more than just I might write in my heart. If I know my whole name, I might write Leo D or Burke. The top left-hand corner is just an interactive chart. That's the creative curriculum. It's shared on the end. So each day they go through one of those charts and they organize together. And then the bottom is sound wall. If you've been in an elementary classroom, you've probably heard of a word wall. And this is the sound wall. And so we're really working on teaching kids the sounds. And I don't know if you can tell her now, she's got yellow post-it notes that are covering the picture of that having her. And for some of her, she's got the picture of the shape of mouth when they're making the sound, which is really, really important for kids to understand when they're learning. I model moves in different ways to make different sounds. So just some examples of great things, and all are welcome. Come to this at any time. I think I've done.
So I did spend some time, 20 minutes downstairs in the Hooded Learning Center yesterday, and I left them a picture and about 12 pups on the way. But they always bring this out lesson, it's great. So I'm going to just walk you through elementary a little bit. So I just spent a lot of time with our amazing literacy coaches working together with all of us folks in our principals in the classrooms. And so I'm just going to kind of speak now so you will hear things that are similar. Some things that are, you're going to notice patterns of work that happens as we move up in the years. So there are some things I want to give credit. We're going to just do this very early, slide, and don't live. And so we think about that before the science of reading movement. This is such a great way to articulate some of the really big high-level important shifts that teachers are making. One really important thing is that we used to be great example, right? Read to your children, give them a book, just something that equals to that story, and they will just absorb it and they will start to learn. Like these things starting to talk, crawling, things like that. What we know now is it is challenging. Remember, remember all those components that are required, they can be explicitly taught. Some kids, a few, might learn just by exposure. Most need that explicit instruction around reading awareness, phonics, fluency, vocab comprehension. We used to think that there are many ways to teach reading, and now we know from recent breakdowns that there's really one way that's effective. There's a sequence for it. We know that there are protocols for it. We know there are ways to assess it, right? So we're really getting into that. The student reading is the cognitive variables we cannot change. We now know that we can improve student reading versus the. And finally, latency as students will catch up. We're not going to wait and see if they can catch up. We want to get in early and often and build those skills, just like Leo was showing already in the early learning center. So we know that early intervention is critical. So did you recognize that this now is the next level of this? And so this is on the sound wall. I didn't even how great is that? So I mentioned you can see this downstairs to the early learning center, but this is how we in our classrooms. We have this creating in our French immersion. We have this living, reading, and K2 classrooms now. As they get through unit 2 and letters, they get a sound wall and they understand how professional development and they use the sound wall throughout their day during their instruction to be able to show children the sounds. Even though like a voiced sound or an unvoiced sound. When you're in the classroom, so you hear it starting now, this is going to be years to really use this language. But these are inner charts. If you're in a classroom and see these in K2 classroom, and you'll see teachers referencing these, they're going to draw their day, they're teaching the sounds, or they're going to teach the coding strategies. This is an example of fluency practice. One of the pieces in that reading rope is that fluent reading. And so one of the things I'm just going to share with you a really quick video of these two friends at a high elementary practicing their letter sound fluency. And we do this not just with letter sounds, but also with reading passages. I'll share this with you really quickly. Oh, exciting, right? If you practice that fluency is really just our practicing our rate and our accuracy and our velocity, so that when we're reading smoothly like we speak, right? So then this would progress for our older students, grades first and up. We're still practicing in 5th grade, practicing in middle school, right? That fluency of reading passages as reading passages get more difficult. We just keep practicing as we build up. This thing start that again. Okay, and then another piece, it's skipping through a couple of pieces here, but just giving you a snapshot. Now, in our race is actually an example of a lesson from vocabulary for the fifth grade classroom. And this is another, again, part of the language comprehension, part of the video. And in our elementary classrooms, that's part of their day, they're making meaningful resources, where they are explicitly teaching vocabulary. And we know that that is critical for reading for that comprehension piece. And so this is an example of a teacher's lesson where they were using something from our Aspire courses. Letters is our professional development for K-3 teachers, and Inspire is the intermediate and secondary research. Same grounding research, but it's now how to apply for our older students and fifth grader at home. And why do we still need a lot of that science reading? Because I noticed that there were pandemic impacted in first grade. And so we have some catching up to do with them, right? And so that explicit instruction around these pieces of reading are really critical at this age. And so this is an example of the Inspire living in the classroom method learning being applied so that kids get exposure to new words. I hear throughout the time teachers will tell me they loved it. They start seeing it in their writing, they start hearing about the playground, but it really starts to get embedded into this is just kind of a shape of meaning activity where kids can take a word and they play with that word and start to see different ways we can make that a little bit stronger of a word, or less strong, less intense, and ways they play with that word. And then I'm going to pass on to Rosie Rain, who's going to share the next lesson this work is living in our courses. So I'm Rosie Rain, and I work here at Southview. I am an administrative student support, and I just joined Southview this year from the elementary. Creek Valley was my home for 17 years. And then Concord before that. So I grew up at Cornelia, Concord, and I love myself. Just Southview Middle School, so I feel like I really love the science of reading. Coming from elementary into middle, and I know we talked about what the different words that we're seeing in the pre-K all the way through elementary. So we'll dig back into those. I will show you what it is starting to look like now in middle school. So we use the fast search to screen. And then we use the diagnostics to diagnose. We kind of think about it as going to the doctor. Not feeling so great. You're going to go to the doctor, going to say, not feeling great. Okay, well, now let's diagnose. You screen, you realize you need to be here, let's diagnose what this is. And see if it's something that we really need to attend to. So at the middle level, we know they have come through all these great schools. And so we want to find where are the actual holes that are causing us to talk with a possible need in the screener. So then we take the diagnostics average and we work on each and every student. What does each and every student need? If they are showing that they have a need from a screener, we start with putting awareness of comments. And we see if that is where their need is. Maybe there's still or a few sounds or a few areas within that intervention that they could receive to fill and then take off. Maybe it isn't a phonics or a phonemic need. Maybe it's a fluency need, and we see a lot of that in middle school. And so that we know that these phonics and awareness skills are there, but we need to just make it more automatic. So depending on what those diagnostics look like, we decide how are we going to make an academic action plan for that student. We also find that sometimes showing us that it shows there's a need, but when we actually do the diagnostic, we say, hey, he was on day and everything, all the skills are there, and we're seeing that in the diagnostics. So we are not over servicing students who don't need that. So once we identify that they do need a need in the middle school level, and we know what their need is and what goals we might need to fill, we use our research-based interventions that they use in the elementaries. We bring them in the middle,
And we are at some universities and universities working on what we saw those little girls doing. And they were practicing their fluency. At the sound level, you see these seventh graders are practicing their fluency at the word level, the story level, seventh level. So we know research tells us we have to give that intervention 5 times a week at 30 minutes. A dose, we're talking medical. And so to give those 4 doses, we have structured what our flex times look like, what our halfway times during the charts look like, so that these students are now receiving 4 doses a week. And then every other week, they're doing progress monitoring. So we're saying, is this working? Is the doses of need that we are trying to fulfill working? And if we are seeing that it's working and their data is going up to their progress monitoring, we can keep going until they reach benchmark. And are able to sustain benchmark without intervention. If we see, this is a beginning of it, if we say we need to adjust our academic response, we need to see maybe there's a couple that didn't pop before, and now that we understand this child a little bit better, we can find that hole. Or maybe there's support and they need an additional dose. So we are monitoring and adjusting so that we can move our middle school quickly through the interventions as possible. Some students, depending on their need, may be receiving 2 different interventions so that they can fill the small amount of skills that they may need, that they're already still working on that fluency. So at times, that's how we try to accelerate the growth for our learners. At our district level, we have kind of our big rocks, and then our middle school, all the schools that build our big rocks up, district big rocks. Well, we know school or literacy is a big rock, and school-wide literacy is something that we are developing as well. So we are training our EL teachers, our ELA English language and reading teachers, and our special ed teachers, as well as our intervention teachers in the science of reading. Then we are also, as full staff, providing professional development. What does it look like for you as a science, a social studies, a music, a high ed teacher? What does literacy look like in your space? And what supports do you need for that literacy to develop? So is it verbal? We are now not using symbols in middle school, we are using verbal. So do you need support for verbal? Could you practice using our research-based strategies for teaching vocabulary? Maybe a science teacher, but let's roll in some of those strategies working from Spire and other places for those research-based strategies. So we are beginning to maybe have class that's new to this. And if you feel like you don't work, we also have literacy coaching. So we are there to help support them, support our teachers, and provide them so that we can move the needle, not just the low, we can keep it going all the way up. Is it ready? Is it ready? It's working.
Is it working? This is my favorite slide of the night. It's working. Really quickly, working alongside the secondary teachers right now, they're getting the winter data in. It's working there as well. I don't have data here from aspirations because it's new at the secondary level, so we'll use that trend data. But they're writing creative plans and exiting students. So I know we had 11 students exit out of intervention at Bailey. So we've got students exiting out of supports. What that means is they hit that chart, and what that means is that they're really strong correlation between aspiration and CAs. And I understand, right? The secondary have to take a look at it. So we have kids for their futures, right? Even literacy currently give power, literacy currently give power. So that puts volumes to what how we're shape the trajectory of the future, really. So, is it working? This is really exciting, guys. What you're looking at right now, over here on the left is kindergarten, over here on the right. And what this is winter trend data from last week, okay? So, we had, over in 2021, over on the left-hand side, you're gonna see 2021, we had 59% in January, 59% of our kindergartners were meeting the track. That's a 50th percentile in EVAC. Okay. Last year, during this time, we had 76%. And just this year, in January, we are now at 80%. That is an increase. What is an increase of 21% in 3 years? This is significant because this is why we do the work, right? It's landing on kids. First grade, on the left, 54%, 3 years ago, last year, 65%, this year, we're at 72%. That is an increase of 18% in non-winter trend data. That is outstanding. So then look at it. Now think about fluency, which is a higher scale, right? Our benchmarks are increasing. So we also see the same level of increase here with this. Not as dramatic, but we know our kindergartners, right? They catch on the primary level, not our fluency, we're more layered skills. We're doing it intermediate and intermediate at a deeper level. Up 8% in 3 years in second grade, and 7% in just 3 years. These are different kids, right, from year to year, but even this year, we're seeing increases in these primary grades. This is where letters and like professional development, science and reading has been going on in also 2 to 3 years, okay? So then the thing is, we know the recipe, we're building it for these kids, and now we're taking that and we're moving it up into, like I said, our intermediate and our secondary. So we're getting rolling with the PD there, we're getting rolling with the coaching there, we're getting rolling using that data there also. So this continues on, the story to be continued, right, as we get more data from our students. So with that, I'm going to end our little segment with just an overview video and then a couple of academy.
Edina Public Schools is committed to ensuring that each and every student that enters our classrooms becomes a thriving reader. We have committed to ensuring that each student receives the best instruction aligned to the most current research possible, and this is done through our commitment to the science of reading.
After letters, we have so much more intentionality with everything we do. From reading stories to guided spelling to decoding, we really have the science really pushed into exactly everything we do. The students are more confident, they're using all their skills that they've learned, and it's just totally changed everything we do in literacy here. How did they just get literacy to the bodies? And that's really maybe entire curriculum for all children, but the young children will really get them that time until they start beginning of school.
Our teachers have just really embraced the science of reading, and it has created this movement around the collective efficacy and looking at data and using that data to inform instruction and then make those instructional shifts that they're learning about in research in the science of reading through their letters and inspire courses, and monitoring that and ensuring that that instruction is landing on kids in a way that shows that they are reaching that aggressive growth and meeting benchmarks and thriving and learning to love reading.
Yeah, I really especially appreciated looking at students who have made growth despite their being at a low risk rate or at a risk rate, and they're still making some growth, and that's really positive. But what we were thinking right now is to look further and see, look at what they are doing with those kids, what we are doing with those kids with their growth rate, how we can bring that to other students who are also on fast bridge charts.
And some people really, we love celebrating student success. And so when we see the data go up, we pull the student in and celebrate with them.
Whether it's the kids being successful, our staff being amazing,
or community wrapping around our school district to make certain that we are the leaders, we are the defining excellence in the areas of science and reading. I just couldn't be more than this. So
I have the pleasure of introducing Senator Session to say a few words. It is so exciting to see the results and hear these happening in our classroom. And as Kathy mentioned, I have the proud director of teaching and learning here in Edina, started in 2000, right in the middle of COVID, and right in the middle of our work in creating our early learning control comprehensive literacy plan. So one thing that I want to connect is our comprehensive literacy plan that's developed reading that is closely aligned, and that it takes an entire village to put this work into place for students so that I dive behind define excellence. We do define excellence because that is what our students deserve, right? And so a huge piece that I know we want to celebrate is the partnerships that we have at home. Partnerships specifically that we have with Edina. They have appearance from our dyslexia group here tonight. That partnership and collaboration because here has been very meaningful. Parents that are in the space that have been asked the challenging questions that are critical for us to hear. Our partnerships are what makes the difference for students. And so a lot of that partnership comes in resources. And the resources that we have teamed with Edina are absolutely critical for us to implement the comprehensive literacy plan, the READ Act, the science and reading at the highest possible levels. So we see these results in our students. Edina is committed to making sure these partnerships are strong and collaborative so we have the greatest impact on students. Some of the many ways that we've been partnering and Edina is putting resources specifically into this work are with time. I look at being an elementary principal in the space and partnerships with our principals in this work is critical. Our elementary principals for the last 2 years, I again this Friday, have given us every single question about the data that they have for 3 years in a row. So we have those full days just support our teachers, independently working on their literacy, collaboratively working on their literacy. That resource of time and that collaboration is going to be highly invested in. Another resource that Edina has invested in, specifically from our Edina funding, is the commitment to our literacy coaches. So you heard tonight we have a literacy coach at the Early Learning Center. We have 2 literacy coaches at our elementary. We have had 3 for several years, and our 2 are continuing to do a phenomenal job. We this year have literacy coaches to our middle schools and a literacy partner who is doing some specific instruction as well as coaching at high school. The resource of people and the money and the commitment to ensuring that we can do those literacy coaches the 3 PD areas, or the 3 PD trainings that that covers are all phenomenal. And they all teach us about the science of reading. And even prior to that, we had a team invested in some piloting and collaborating and digging into 2 of those resources. We decided to go better since it is more in depth. And we decided that we're going to invest in just having our teachers go through the letters training, which is one thing, right? But supporting them and implementing what we're learning in the letters training in the classroom. So another area that Edina Public Schools has specifically for is small balls that you saw in the pictures. So there are resources that we're investing in as a district that without those resources would not allow our teachers to implement at the level they are.
I think all of us, right, have been engaged in learning in our lives. Sometimes it's reading a book, sometimes it's a podcast. It's really easy for all of us to just soak that information in and then not take the next step of having a conversation about it, of applying it. Finding the time at our ED days, talking about literacy, coaching, engaging and maybe assess level resources that comes on the professional development that we have in place. What I've heard has been so generous in helping us support is one is the resource to licenses for betters. Just a quick kind of rounding of numbers to keep it really simple. We saw the number 300 that would be present teachers right now. We add to that number. But every teacher for their work there are two different parts of letters, right? So we have 4 lessons in that first cluster and then 4 lessons in that second cluster. Every time in each cluster, so one cluster class is about $500 for the letters raising. As it blows us a little bit, because there's definitely that there's a like, okay, so and there's profits, right, about $500, $500 for one session or one cluster of learning, and another $500 for another. Those are the licenses, the books, the learning. That's $1,000, right, for 300 teachers. $300,000. The capital dollars that being a teaching and learning is $300,000. And so without the support and partnership of the Ed Fund, purchasing those resources, and then making sure we're also buying the curriculum resources that we're needing in other curricular areas, is just a stretch. And because we partnered and we have some people in the community supported us, we are able to do this at the level of the excellence. And not just minimum level license to the learning and move on and apply it to the classroom without the collaboration and support. We've also believed in the Ed Fund where we have paid for some of this through the district dollars and for this some of this that the dollars that has helped us raise is paying our teachers for the time that they are investing in this. And that's absolutely critical. If we think in totality about 140 hours of learning, that is all that is 130 towards master level class. That is a lot to ask any individual to do. And to ask the teacher to do in addition to the day-to-day work that they're doing. And so to be able to get into the meeting is we are going to create a community with progress subs, which is also a cost, right? We have diversity freedom. No matter how creative we are, we can't promise 140 hours teacher stays. And so it's time card pay them their own pay for the hours that they do outside of what we find for them is absolutely critical to honor them and help them recognize it to the next levels of implementation. It's a collective advocacy about our nation. Our teachers are not perfect, it's hard, but they are telling us the basic professional development and without us learning that time. It could be very, very hard for them to come to the United States energy, the collective advocacy to remain and actually continue learning knowledge of their coaches, principals, their colleagues. So I just really want to emphasize that Edina is highly, as a school district, prioritizing this work through a variety of different resources. I have resources that I can find get that there are resources that I can time, people, money, right? And we are going to continue to be in the partnerships that Ed Fund as well as our community to say that we are going to continue to do this with the excellence because that's what our students deserve. We're seeing the results that we have. And they were achieved on the track. So we thank Ed Fund, we thank everyone in the space for being here. I think we're probably answering 2 questions. I want to remind everyone that we have her email up there, line is up there. If we don't answer questions tonight, please reach out. Here, having had conversations, email exchanges, whatever you need. Thank you everyone for being here. This is all of you. We are here because of all of the work. We got education that is not some magical mystery. We are a community foundation that comes together and help make sure that this work happens. We are here today to launch off our week of community action for kids education. And that's why we are here. It's a great week to celebrate literacy and all the work that we do, and we're going to come together on Friday to celebrate that morning at an event at St. Pat's Church or wherever it's best for you, to talk more about literacy and about the other work we have programs we have not just for schools to be effective there. This work is not free. Could we do this cheaper? Yeah, we probably could. But you know, as you think about it, I was telling my kids, could I do an enhanced supervision? Wouldn't you rather that it be just the fresh chicken and crack and the other stuff? Yeah, it's gonna take all day. But it works you ready and it nourishes you. And you're gonna grow from it, and it's gonna make you feel good. And we call the night homemade penicillin, because that's how it makes you feel. There's something that goes with this right. It's the right way to literacy. It's the dedicated to literacy and the good to the right. So let's take our time, let's invest in it, let's come together as a community, let's do this. Join us on Friday. Thank you for being part of this, and thank you for being already done education. Thanks for being here.